Welcome everybody to the first Friday call. I am so pleased to have you all here and to have you work so hard to be part of this call. The purpose of the first Friday call is to nurture small business and inspire entrepreneurship across the state. Here at K-State Research and Extension, we're aware that more than half of the new employees will come from small businesses of one and a few employees. So we really want to encourage that part of community vitality. We encourage partner sharing after the speaker is done. And so if there's anything that's going on in your community, you may think that it doesn't have wide appeal, but we can all learn from you and be inspired by what you're doing in your communities and do a little R&D. And, I used to think R&D was research and development, but now I know it's rip off and duplicate. So please do a little R&D and share with us what's happening in your communities so that we can learn from you. As always, this call is being recorded and you'll get a link to the website when it's posted and a copy of Jack's PowerPoints. And so with that, I'm going to introduce Jack Harwell, who is a business advisor and he's going to teach us about business transition tools to support continuity of businesses and communities. Welcome, Jack, and thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Nancy. I'd really appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody here. Let me get my presentation going. Okay, well, my name is Jack Harwell. As Nancy mentioned, I'm with the Kansas Small Business Development Center, and I work in the Johnson County Community College office. I'm also a certified exit planning advisor, which will be relevant as the conversation goes on. So I'd like to take the time today to introduce to you the Kansas Center for Business Transition. And it's a website that we've developed to help small business clients or small business owners plan their business transition and then successfully execute it. It's a joint effort between the Johnson County Community College and the Kansas SBDC. Our mission, as you can see here, is to support continuity and growth of small business. And we do that with education and resources that would hopefully help the businesses, but also help community leaders in understanding this issue of business transition. And our vision has become a center of knowledge and resource so everybody can successfully plan and execute their succession. And some of the motivations behind this, there's an estimate about 60% of private business is owned by boomers. And of course, a lot of them are going to be exiting in the near future. And it's been estimated that's about a $10 trillion capital exchange, which the market's going to be challenged to be able to handle. And so we view that as a buyer's market. And what we mean by that is the sellers that don't prepare their business for sale or for transition, they may be challenged to get the kind of return on that investment that they've made over the years in this kind of a market. Also at the bottom, you can see, even though Kansas as a whole has enjoyed great growth, and this is between 2012 and 2017, growth in terms of the number of businesses and employment. As you probably all know, the worst 52 counties in Kansas, and worst in these statistics, show that not everybody in Kansas, not all communities in Kansas are enjoying this growth. We've done some research to find that about 30,000 boomers own Kansas businesses, and this was as of 2016. So it's a large population of baby boomers that own Kansas businesses, and we see that as a huge existential threat to not only businesses in general, but to small communities that have, a very few businesses to start with, and the idea of losing one of them is going to be an impact to the economy. And this survey just kind of indicates the fact that most business owners, or almost half business owners, don't have a plan to exit their business. They don't have any kind of a structured plan that will describe how they're going to leave their business. And although this was a survey done in Nebraska a couple of years ago, we've seen this survey done in other regions of the country, and they're all the same. You see the same numbers no matter what. So over the last couple of years, the SBDC, and by the way, there's a team of 5 certified exit planning advisors in our SBDC network in Kansas, and we worked as a team to kind of understand the challenges that business owners face. And one of them is a knowledge deficit. The owners just don't know how to transition. They don't know their options. There's more options than a lot of people realize. There's just not a lot of exit planning resources to help owners. When I became certified, I was really excited about the idea of helping business owners. I started doing research online to see what was out there that was available for them, and there's just not a lot of comprehensive resources that take them step by step through the process of planning their exit. And as you probably know, owners are typically reluctant to ask for help, and particularly on the subject of exit planning, they're concerned about what people might think about their business if they indicate that they're considering exiting, and bad behaviors might start to happen where customers change their shopping behaviors, vendors get nervous about the business, so they're generally reluctant to share their thoughts about exiting a business. There's not a lot of options for business owners, especially in rural areas. Not a lot of buyers capable and qualified to buy their business, and it's sometimes challenging to recruit buyers from other areas. The funding sources, bank loans and other sources of funding aren't designed for the kind of risks that a transition represents. There's not a lot of collateral in the businesses we're talking about, so getting a loan to support the transition can be a challenge. And then there's just not a lot of transition expertise out in the rural areas. It seems to be, of course, concentrated in the urban areas. So we feel like the Kansas SBDC is in a good position to help solve these challenges. Again, we've got 5 certified exit planning advisors. We have 3 certified valuation analysts on our team. And of course, we have 9 regional offices with over 30 advisors, and we've got a plan. And our plan is to establish this Kansas Center for Business Transition, which we've done, to leverage our network throughout the state and to become an online resource for educating business owners, and enhance that with webinars and local presentations and other ways to educate the public. We intend to start doing some fairly aggressive social media strategies to try to reach the audience, to bring them to the website, to make them aware of the website. And we also would like to partner with local community leaders for personal outreach and to refer business owners that they see needing this kind of information to refer them to us or to our website. So we launched in August, and a couple things about the website. It's got, I guess the bread and butter of it is the transition tools. We've got an exit planning checklist that will take you step by step through the transition planning process. We also have 3 other sections that cover the rest of the process: preparing your business for transition, transitioning your business, and life after business. Admittedly, the last 2, actually the last 3 still need work. So when you go look at the website, you'll see that there's under construction signs on a couple of these, but we will be working on building this content into the future. We've got some success stories links to partners. We've got related resources on there to help. You know, you can't it's hard to transition your business without a lawyer and a CPA and other resources. So we have links to some there. We've got a blog that we're producing content on that's relevant to this topic. And we also have a page that includes contact info for the SBDC advisors. So anybody could reach out to one of us, depending on where you are, and get assistance. So the highlight of the website is our exit planning checklist. And you know, this just shows the topics that we cover in that step by step. You know, build your team, set your goals, benchmark your business, estimate the value of your business. We talk about how to address the gaps if you want to grow the value of your business or prepare for transition, drafting your transition plan, and then developing a contingency plan, which is a plan for what happens if suddenly the business owner is unavailable due to death or disability. And again, all this is on our website. So the idea of the website is to provide everyone with a base understanding of exit planning. And so we've got a depiction of what we envision the website visitor's journey would be. So they come on the home page, they go into the checklist, they kind of check it out, they look at our tools, and then they sort of decide, is this something that I could do by myself? And hopefully we've built it to where you could build your own exit plan, and so we've got that DIY option. But as they look at the materials, they may realize that this is a little bit bigger than they can tackle on their own, but at least they understand the process. They can also reach out to the SBDC for assistance, or if they don't feel comfortable with that, we also have links to some paid resources to help with their transition. And as I mentioned, we're going to be doing social media. We have been doing it, but we're going to really start targeting business owners to make them aware of the website and conduct workshops and collaborate with organizations to help further our mission. We do have a partnership program. So any organization or individual whose mission and vision intersects with ours, we welcome you to be a partner. And the idea with partnership, of course, it's not a legal partnership. It's more about collaborating on content. So cross-promotion on our websites with backlinks to refer to each other, contributions of content. Any partner wants to contribute content, we'll recognize them, let them brand their content so everyone knows where it came from and recognizes them as an expert. And then, of course, amplifying social media messaging through retweets and posts. So that's what we ask of our partners. So our ask today is, of course, number one, spread the word. Give us feedback if you see any gaps in what we're doing or any ideas for improvement. Certainly would love to hear that. And then anybody that thinks that they might be a good fit, we'd love for you to become a partner. And again, I'd like to thank the Kansas State Research and Extension for this opportunity. I do want to just briefly go over a project that we're working on. We've been contemplating it for a while, and we're starting to get traction on it. And I know we can't maybe have a thorough discussion here, but I'd love any feedback you have on it. And the project name is Rural Business Marketplace. And it stems from some research that was done in the University of Minnesota by a person named Ben Winchester. And he found that middle-aged newcomers are moving to rural areas in that state. And these new residents had significant education, skills, connections, spending power, and children. They're essentially professionals in the urban areas that feel disenfranchised with where they are, don't like the community, whatever their reasoning, but they want to come back to the rural areas for a simple life, safety and security, affordable housing, outdoor recreation, and quality schools, things that you're all familiar with. And so we wondered, is there a brain gain in Kansas? And so we did a little bit of digging in the US Census, and we found that yes, in fact, there is a growth of bachelor degreed individuals within the communities throughout the state. And this little table at the bottom, way we look at counties in terms of tiers. So a tier 4 county would be a county that has a population over $50,000 in their largest town. Their increase was 1.1. The largest increase was in those counties that had the biggest town in that county was between 10 and 50,000 people. That's where we saw a 6% increase in the number of bachelor or above individuals over the 5-year span from 2012 to 2017. And you can kind of see where those activities are happening. The darker blue areas are the higher percentages of growth in bachelor degree above. And again, they're looking for a simpler life, safety and security, affordable housing, outdoor recreation, and quality schools. So how do we connect these people? How do we connect business owners in rural areas needing to transition their business with urban professionals who are desire to move into the urban area or to the rural areas and enjoy the better lifestyle? And what we're proposing is an online portal. So a person could come to the website and through some filters find a community that they like or an environment that they like, and then look to see if there's any businesses in that environment. And the reason I describe it that way is these listings would not indicate where that business is. It would just indicate some values for, you know, the quality of life in that area. And then until the business owner is ready to disclose their location, it would remain anonymous. So with that, we are working on that project. Tom Byler, who's on here with us, is helping with that, and we'll be, you know, informing you of that of progress as we get going on it. So with that, I'll see if there's any questions that you have.
While they're thinking, Jack, I think that last edition is really exciting. I mean, I've taught grant workshops to 1,700 people, and in addition to that, I've gone to First Impressions communities all over the state to 60 different communities. And I've introduced this idea that people want to move back, that there is a concept of brain gain. And sometimes when I describe those people, you know, people who have gone out and made their living, you know, gotten their education, maybe had a start in their career, and now they want to come back. And I said, how many of you fit that description? And sometimes it's 50% of the people in the room. And I think a lot of them are, and there's probably people on this this call that's true for them. They married the farmer whose work was there. But nevertheless, they've made a life there in that community. So I think that matchmaking piece is particularly exciting.
Yeah, we're really excited about it, and we love the feedback because it's, you know, it's kind of a challenge to confirm the information. It's all anecdotal with a little bit of data to back it up, but
Right.
the more I talk about this, the more feedback I get that this is a real deal, and
Yeah.
it's a good solution for it.
Yeah, and if you want to see Ben Winchester's full presentation, I think it was March of, he's been on with us several times, but Ben has been with us in February and in March of subsequent years, and that's all on the page. So what questions do you have?
I think Kirk might have one.
Actually, yes, I do have a question, and thank you for the presentation. And I think somebody also asked this in the chat, but this project, this brain gain, if you will, project, Do you all have any type of tentative launch dates for the portal or anything like that? Thank you.
Well, thanks for the question. We don't right now. We're still in the very early stages. There's three areas of work on this. One is the technology. One is finding the urban folks, and the other is finding the businesses to list on the site. And the focus has been on the technology because without that, it would be hard to do the other things, or it wouldn't make sense. So I'm working with someone right now to understand the cost and the timeline, and we're working on some grant funding to support this project. And so it's still a bit too early to tell when it would be launched. It's a lot of it just depends on the technology and the partner that we have and how quickly they can do it. But definitely we'll keep Nancy updated, and hopefully she can keep you guys updated.
Kylie?
Yeah, two questions. Can you give us the website for the KS Biz transition again? And then on the project that you're talking about, you said grant funding. So are you thinking, will there be costs for the businesses to list themselves? Or is it still too early? You haven't even thought about how you're going to do that?
The goal is there's no cost. A lot of it may depend on how much money we get in the funding. But I've had casual conversations with a couple of people that are pretty excited about the idea. And so I don't want to get ahead of myself in whether this is going to happen, but I'm pretty confident that we can work it out where it won't be a cost, or if it is, it's just a minimal cost that kind of gets their skin in the game.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
The link to the website is in the chat for everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to recognize Tom Byler and Carl Klein and Mary Ann Reeder for joining us. They're you probably know them. They're part of the SPDC, and Tom and Carl have been instrumental in helping us develop the concept that I presented today.
Jack, this is Nadine Sigel. I'm curious, will you also include farm operators in this? Because there's a lot of young folks that are wanting to get into farming, and if there was a way to put that match into it, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, that's a good feedback. I honestly hadn't thought about that, but I've seen no reason why not, and maybe that would be something that we could use in our promotion to kind of focus on farming if you see that as a hot topic. So I'll make a note to include that in our plan. Any other questions? Feedback?
I think we've learned in this pandemic that people can work remotely. And I think it's given Kansas just an awfully great opportunity. And so there's a lot of work going on to help people to enjoy what we enjoy: quality schools, great recreation, safety. I love going into a town like Seneca, Kansas, and seeing kids walking home from school. You can't do that in Topeka, Kansas. It's just that quality of life is just unreproducible. And if they knew what we knew, they'd all want to be here. I think there's some fear from some people. No, we like it like this, but it's not sustainable. We have to have new people, because there are two certainties in life, and one of them is working against us.
Jack, another thing that you might mention earlier, you said there were 5 business succession planners across the state. Could you tell the group who they are and where they're located?
Sure. Carl Klein is in Topeka at the SPDC in Washburn. Tom Byler, who's also on the call, he is working between Washburn and Emporia. Okay,
Mary
Lisa,
Ann?
Lisa Brumbaugh
Okay.
is in Emporia, and she's an exit planner. And then Rick, Tom, help me, Rick.
Feltenberger.
Yeah, Feldberger. I'm having a senior moment here. Rick Feltenberger in Hayes is also an exit planner advisor as well as myself. So that's the 5. And then Carl and Lisa are also certified valuation analysts, as well as Will
Cats.
Katz. Thanks, Tom. I don't know what I mean. What's the deal with last names today?
In my household, if you get more than 2 names out at one time, you get points.
Well, thanks again for your joining us and listening. And my email, I'll put it in the chat. It's also in the presentation. If you have any questions or would like to give any feedback, or ideally participate or help us with this, we'd love to hear from you. Or if you'd like to be a partner of the Kansas Center for Business Transition, check out our partner page and see who's there, and maybe you'd like to join us.
Thank you so much. I think you can count on a lot of excitement from the idea of matching people up. And boy, Nadine, I like the idea of farm. I don't know whether you can include that, but that seems like a great enhancement.
Yeah, I see no reason why not.
Yeah, it's a great business. And veterans, Ron Wilson has been associated with a veterans group that's trying to transition into farm. So that might be a good connection as well.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you guys, I'm thinking you're talking Save Farm with that group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I also don't know if you guys are familiar with an effort that's going on. I believe K-State military liaison, what is his name? Art DeGroat.
Art DeGroat.
Yeah, he is working on being able to get permission from the Army to do a survey, because their goal is to see what does Kansas need to do to be more appealing to these folks that are retiring, because that's the prime target for exactly what your project is talking about. Because you're getting people, in their late 30s, early 40s that have a retirement, or are veterans, have training, have some money put away, that are looking what their next phase of life is going to be. And you may be able to actually, do some things together on that.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah, appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. Good feedback. Any other ideas for Jack? Or
Jack,
questions?
this is Kirk. Along the lines of the Save Farm, which Ron and Ted and those guys are doing great things here outside of Manhattan. We also have a nonprofit just going along with the Veterans into Agriculture Transition Plus Association. We are in our very early stages, but doing the same thing. We're trying to build a curriculum around transitioning veterans, transitioning soldiers, and getting them into our agriculture, and of course into the rural communities. And it's just, everybody has all these same great ideas, and this type of networking, a call like this is really great, because we're like, oh, we're all thinking the same thing. I need to call them and have Zoom coffee or something, because there's some great ideas to float around.
I'm definitely interested in talking to you about your idea for that, because I'm working on building an internship plan.
We have a tower farm in Summerfield, which, if you don't know where Summerfield is, go to Nebraska and you've made it to Summerfield. We took an old elementary school that the city donated, the Summerfield school, to us, and we actually have a tower farm growing there, and we've got the business plan relatively in place, and now we're working on our curriculum. And this year our goal is to get our GI Bill certification through the Kansas veteran system, with a goal of next year to start having transitioning soldiers come through our curriculum to be farmers and to join the agriculture industry in the rural community.
You really need to hook up with the Soldier for Life Transition Assistance Programs.
Yep.
Yeah.
Crystal Bryant is also the leader of our Rotary. We've been talking to her.
Right. So she's with USO, but we
Oh,
have
yeah.
another one on post that's actually military based. They do work closely together, though.
Yeah. Thank you.
Excellent.
And Crystal's good people.
So okay, so we can come back if you have an idea, but is there anybody that wants to share about what you're doing in your community that you think we might want to steal or build on?
Hey, Nancy, this is Sarah with the Small Business Administration.
Yes, thanks.
And I just wanted to let you all know quickly that we have decided to move forward with the Emerging Leaders Business Development Program. I know we've probably talked to you all about this before, but one of the interesting things about the pandemic is that we're moving this online. And so ordinarily only businesses that are willing to travel to Wichita every 2 weeks have been really eligible to participate. But we are opening this up this year statewide. So we're looking for businesses that, that do want to move into kind of a growth phase. And I'm going to put something in the chat with a link to everybody and kind of a description of what we're looking for. But it's a fantastic program. You might have heard it called a Streetwise MBA program. But it's a really good opportunity for businesses to work on their 3-year growth plan. And it's not just case studies. You are your own case study. The businesses will be working on their own business plan with their own financials, with their own information. So this is a great opportunity for folks all over the state, since it's not just going to be limited to Wichita businesses this year. So if you know anybody, I'm putting it in the chat now where the links are. Kind of long, but check it out. It's a really great program. It's one of the best things I think that SBA does.
That sounds fantastic. And I'm going to steal that and put it in the follow-up email because that looks fantastic.
Sarah,
this is Michael at the SBA, and I'll send you a PDF about it, and also some updates regarding our disaster assistance programs that came out this week.
Good. Thank you, Michael. Go ahead.
Sarah, could you also talk about that Ascent program that you talked about with our entrepreneurial group last week or week before
last? So Ascent is a new online platform, really that it's targeted to women business owners, but anybody can get benefit of it. And what it is that what we're trying to do is provide opportunity, particularly to reach rural businesses and rural women-owned businesses. And so what it is, it's a series of journeys that kind of some broader categories like, strategic marketing, things like that. But really it's for anybody at any phase of their business. We're kind of looking for what we're calling the missing middle. So it's not really targeted to people that are just wanting to start a business, startups, or wanting to explore starting a business. However, I still think it's useful there because you get some good ideas of what you may be looking at down the road. And it's also not for people that are kind of, satisfied with where they are. It's got a lot of really great various ways of learning, because we know not everybody learns the same. And so, it's fireside chats, it's webinars, it's worksheets, it's videos, it's module learning. And if you register for it, you can actually track your progress through all of the journeys and where you're at. And the idea too is that, you do this at your own pace. And when you have the time and when you have a specific issue come up. So maybe you've got, a small retail shop somewhere and you're thinking about adding an employee, but you don't know anything really about the HR side of things. So You might want to jump in there and do an HR module real quick. But it's a really very neat platform, multiple federal agencies involved in putting it together. And it's really very unique to a government web project, really. It's a great resource. If you haven't seen it, I encourage you to check it out. It's just ascent.sba.gov. A really great platform to kind of give you a deeper dive into your own business and what you want to achieve.
Sarah, that sounds, either one of those or both of them sound like a great future program, if and when it's timely for your program.
Sure, we would be glad to do it.
Okay, let me know what's timely for you.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of interest. And I must surely not be the only person that needs to hear things more than once.
Nancy, this is Ron Wilson.
Yes, Ron.
I'm not sure if anybody from Kansas Department of Commerce is on, but speaking of things announced this week, yesterday, the governor did announce the Kansas Framework for Growth, and that's that report is on the Kansas Commerce website. This is an unpaid political announcement, I guess. I'll post it in the chat for anybody that wants to see it. There are, I think there's a lot of good content in that report. They propose the Kansas Competitiveness Project and the Regional Excellence Initiative, both potentially have grants associated with that. And I'd encourage, if nothing else, it provides a view at what Kansas Department of Commerce priorities are going forward. So encourage y'all to look at that.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you for sharing. Anybody else?
Hey, Nancy. I wanted to share just briefly about the Keeping Groceries Alive webinar series. So we talked about it a little bit at the last month. And since then, we have launched our series. It started last Thursday was our first webinar. And it is an 8-part webinar series. So we are working through several topics related to rural grocery business transitions. And the idea, the goal really is to help grocers learn what they need to learn in order to start planning their transition. And actually, so we've talked about kind of an overview last week. This week, we shared some ownership models. Next week, Jack will be sharing some details on preparing for business transition. And then we've got several other topics from planning your business to funding the transition to kind of grocery store nuts and bolts. And so each week kind of builds on the previous weeks, but they are standalone webinars. So if you haven't joined already, you can jump in now. And we are posting recordings to our website, ruralgrocery.org, under the events tab. So both of the recordings from the last 2 weeks are there. And everyone on this call is welcome to join. And if you know of any grocers that may find this series interesting, that may be thinking about retirement in the coming years, they are really our target audience. So I'll put it in the chat, the website, and I encourage others to join.
Fantastic. And I really appreciate you sharing that, Ryle, and reiterating it. I hope you'll continue to do that. We have a different audience every time, and we hear different things every time. So the more of us that take it in and understand it, the better. Who else? I just sent a message to Imogene Harris, who had the Kansas Rural Partners for years. And this is the kind of sharing that happened in those gatherings. And it feels a little bit magical to have all of you share what you're doing and your ideas with each other, because we are so much better together. So thank you for your interaction. One more time, anybody? All right, so our next speaker next month is Craig Van Way. He's the manager of in-state business development with the Kansas Department of Commerce. And he'll talk about Kansas Department of Commerce programs and assistance for businesses across the state. So maybe he'll tell us a little more about what Ron gave us the preview for. And we do have programs that are going on past that, but I really ask for your information about if you would like Jack to contact you about anything, put that in the survey that I gave you in the chat. If I can find it, I'll put it in there again. But we'd really like to connect you up. That's the purpose, is the connection. So as for those of you that stay to the last minute, you know that the last thing I share is a little inspirational thought for the day. And today's is from Theodore Roosevelt, who said, "Far and away the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing." So thank you everybody for your partnership and for your hard work and making Kansas a great place to live.